Hello, in this Church Co tutorial, we're going to talk about how to update the colors for your website's theme. So you may have a particular brand color palette, or maybe you're starting from scratch and you are wanting to find your new color palette for a new logo or new church plant. A cool website is coolers.co, and it's pretty cool. You can do generate color palettes, and you can just cycle through by hitting spacebar, and you can just get randomly generated color palettes, or you can create your own, or you can explore. This is just a really fun website to find some colors that match. This is one that I really like. I just copied the whole palette. I can view it, so let's just view the palette, and it gives you all of the hex and RGB colors, CMYK. So I like it. This is the palette that I chose from our church, and I have all the hex colors saved. So to adjust my website to have those colors, we're going to click Customize, or from your dashboard, you can go to Design and Themes, and it's going to launch the customizer. So we're not changing the content on the website. We're only changing the design, the look and feel. So that's in colors and sizes. And here, by default, you're only going to be started with this brand color, which is this blue right here. You see, these are all options that you find when you're using the building blocks, and we'll show you how to edit maybe a couple of those. So we got a background that's kind of like a slight gray. All of our text is white. So everything is just kind of generic and plain by default. So let's change our main brand color, and I think for the main brand color, I want to use that darker blue color. So I'm just going to copy the hex code. I'm going to add it in here, and it's going to live preview it. So if you see now, this is something using the brand color. It's changed. And you can change the text color. So brand row text color. So what this means is this is the color of the text on top of your brand color. So all these things are going to happen automatically once you set this stuff. So let's change this. If you remember our palette, I had like a really light kind of creamish color almost. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to paste it here, and you're going to see a slight change in that color. It's really hard to tell, but you notice it's not as pure white anymore. It's this really, really kind of off-white color. And you can move this anywhere as well. So you can just move it around. You can choose some of the stock kind of colors. You can see some of these are really, really poor looking. What you want to do is you want to make sure you have real great contrast. The red isn't too bad, but as you see the text gets smaller, it gets harder to see. So I want to keep it that off-white color. I really encourage you to go with really light on really dark and vice versa. So we're good there. I like our brand color and our brand row text color. Secondary color, this is like your main secondary color of your organization. So our palette, we had a red one, so maybe we'll go and grab that one as our secondary color. And it's going to give us this red. It might not show up anywhere here right now because we're not using it. But you see here's like an asterisk. That's kind of using it. The footer's just plain black right now. So nothing really changing too much yet. But we'll have some options when we're building blocks to see how they could change. So we'll go with that second color of the text on top of your secondary color. So again, once we have that, if we put this red as a background, what color do we want to go on top of it? The white could work, or we could do a bit of a reversal here, and we can do that blue color. And when we set up one of those blocks, it'll give us that. So tertiary color is just like a third color for your organization. So I have brand color, brand row text color, a secondary color is the red. So the tertiary color is really kind of that sort of light creamy color, or I have like kind of like an ice blue color. And you can play around with these a little bit. So here's a tertiary color, and the text color on the tertiary, this could be either black, or maybe we can go with maybe that red would look good over top of it. Some of these things you may just play around with and have to figure it out sort of as you go. and add some more blocks that will show you those in those live previews. Because right now it's like, oh, nothing's really showing up yet. It's options that all happen in your page when you're doing building blocks. So you can go through some of these pages and see some of the options as you're changing them. So we'll just stick with the home page here, and we'll edit some of these blocks so we can see how they look once we have changed these colors. So the light row background is by default always going to be white, so we can keep it that, or we could go with that, maybe this brand row text color is kind of like a light background color. Dark row background by default is sort of like this grayish kind of you see here. So maybe we want to set some of these. So you can change all these, but let's change the footer color. Now let's change this to, maybe this will be a chance for us to use that blue again. And we'll just add that in there. And now it's changed it. This isn't too bad, but maybe we want the footer text color to again be sort of that off-white cream color. Didn't quite get all that there. And that doesn't look too bad. Let's say, actually, no, let's try that red color for the footer. Like I said, you can play around with these. Just stick with your colors for your organization. That's not too bad. Again, that's not too great of a contrast. So maybe in the footer text color, we want to either stick with black, or that doesn't look all that great. So maybe let's go with the deep blue color. Still not the best contrast. So again, like I said, you just kind of play around with these. So maybe let's use, we had sort of that ice color. Let's change the background to this color. That's kind of interesting. That's a way to kind of bring a lot of color and a lot of pop. I kind of like to go for just some like general consistency throughout. So I would probably actually, if I were designing a website, I would just keep our brand color, and I would change the footer text color to be sort of that off-white, just like our other rows and backgrounds. So we've got our colors set. The other option here, when you're in the colors and sizes, you can adjust the block size and padding. So if you see all these blocks right now, we can set this to be small, and you're going to see a slight change in how much space is around the content in each block. So all these are kind of closer together. I could say medium. Some of these, depending on your theme, are not very noticeable, but you start to see a little bit of difference here again. And if I go to large, you're going to see a really big difference now that this block is much larger. It's taking up a lot of the screen. And you'll notice a lot like down in the footer. So let's say we like everything to be a little tighter, closer together. I'm just going to change that to small. And yeah, my footer's much smaller. All of my blocks are much tighter together. And the reason that's a good thing to think about is when you're doing your customize, you can change what view you're looking at on your device. So tons of people are using your website on a mobile device. So if I switch that padding to be smaller, it's a really great experience now on a mobile device, and I'm seeing all my colors pop up really nicely. All of this is looking great. So I'm really happy with all of this, and go back to that view. I like my colors. And if I'm ready, I can say, hey, I want to save it as a draft so I can come back and change it later. I can schedule it to go live. But let's just say I'm ready. So I'm going to click publish, and I'm going to close out of here. All of those changes are going to take effect. And there's my brand colors. And so now let's just test this out a little bit. So I'm going to hit the page. And if I'm looking at, let's say, for instance, this block here for the service times, if you go into settings, now I have brand color, secondary color, click save, and it's automatically going to change the background and the text color that goes on top of that background, which gives me that red with the blue. So like I said, let's say, oh, you know what? I don't really like the way that looks, that red on that blue. So I'm going to go to Customize. I'm going to go to the colors and sizes. And the secondary color is here. And the secondary text color, let's change that to be this light one and see what that looks like. I'll copy that, come down here. And again, the preview section happens live. So that looks much better. That white really contrasts with that red pretty good. It really pops out. I like that a lot. So you can see how you might have to bounce back and forth a little bit between page editing and your customization of your colors. So I'm going to save those changes again. I'm going to close out of there, and yeah, I like that. That looks really great. I'm good to go. So that's how you edit the colors and the block padding sizes in your ChurchCo website. Thanks for watching.